Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Open World. I'm Elisa, I'm here with Lara and Alexis.
Hi everyone, hi Mehdi.
And today we're going to be talking about fictional languages. So when building a fictional world in books and movies and video games,
of course, that's why we're here.
Yes, a lot goes into place to make it look as believable and realistic as possible and create that immersive experience. And in some cases, that includes creating a whole other language, like a whole new languages. In some video games, even several languages, like for different. Guys, I know we've all experienced different fictional languages in video games. Do you remember which was the first one you came across?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for me, it has to be Simlish. I remember being like a child playing with my computer with the Sims 1. And hear, these weird noises coming from the Sims mouth, and I was like, what are they talking about?
What are they saying?
And when I was a kid, I didn't have the same level of English as I have today, right? So it was just like, oh my God, they are speaking in English. And I was like, oh my God, this is English. But it is not. It is Simlish.
I hope one day I can understand it.
Well, my little brain was in that cloud nine of, oh my God, this is English. So it started saying so and dag for hi and goodbye, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so fluent.
I am now bilingual.
And now I speak English, Spanish, and Simlish.
That's amazing.
And I'm trying to link to my LinkedIn profile, just like, yes, I do.
Languages I speak simply. How about you, Ale?
God, well, I'm an RPG guy. The first one that I remember is in PlayStation 2 times with Final Fantasy X. They had a fictional language called the Bhed. It was like this entire civilization that was different from all of the rest of the world. And that was very interesting because, all of your main characters, the cities that you visited and everything were all very religious with summonings and everything, but this other civilization, the Bhed, spoke differently. They didn't believe in any religion or anything, but they trusted in what they say machina, in machines, and that was like forbidden. But the way that that Square Enix truly showed that difference was through language. So when you first face one of these Bhed, you don't understand what they're saying. What comes out of their mouth is gibberish, but the subtitling, it's in a different color, and the letters are exchanged. It doesn't make any sense. But as you go on traveling around the world and everything, you find these ciphers. You find an item, and that item allows you to understand one letter of everything that they are saying. So as the game progresses and as you understand more about them, you can make out what they're saying.
That's really interesting.
I know, but it blew my mind.
Absolutely. You're blowing my mind right now. It's just like mine looks so dumb now.
No, but they did it. It's Square Enix.
When you think about it's insane the amount of work that it goes.
The amount of effort of creating a big language.
Exactly, we know this. Of course, there's very different approaches to this. There's languages where you can actually learn some that you have tasks where you are trying to discover, and a lot of times you don't need to learn the language. I don't know how it was for
you could
it's optional. If you wanted to.
It's a side quest throughout the entire game. You found one, okay, I can understand it better. And once you find a couple, the syllable, the vowel, you kind of make out what they're saying, but it gives also the game replayability. Because if you think about it, it's genius, but it's simple. All they did in English was exchange the letters. The A was always another letter. But in its simplicity, it showed so much.
And then you're like, am I missing something from the story? Maybe if I learn the language, that's very
mysterious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
what about you? Do you remember your first fictional language?
I don't know. Probably the first I heard was Simlish as well. But one that it's very dear to my heart is Animalist.
Oh my god, yeah.
Animal Crossing. Because it sounds so cute, basically.
So good, so good.
It sounds
the cutest.
And it sounds a little bit like a speed up version of Japanese. And my question for you guys now was like, do you know if it's translatable, like what Ale was saying, or if these languages are just gibberish? Because there's a lot of them that are, and Animalist is one of those. Like at first, I was hearing some noises that like
it couldn't make some
so I was like,
but it's just like,
can you actually translate this? And I looked into it, and unfortunately, it's not translated. Do you know about Simlish?
I know there are like some fan-made glossaries and stuff for certain words. Like sul being hi, dag being goodbye and everything. But EA hasn't actually confirmed this. It's just like they agree with the fact that it's a language that goes with emotion. So it's just pure gibberish all the time. It's just, it doesn't make any sense, but you can actually hear the emotion, feel the emotion. I mean, come on, guys, haven't you heard the music that has been made?
This is crazy because sometimes, there's even songs created in these fictional languages.
That's the funny thing, because I was playing the other day, and you can actually put some music with your sim, with the music
background.
In the background, absolutely. And I found myself singing to the Simlish style of the song, just singing pure gibberish. And I was like, oh my god, my brain has been consumed.
What's happening with me?
It's just like, it doesn't make any sense.
But I think what's crazy about Simlish is it's been like there for so long that now it sounds natural, like what you said, at the beginning it's like, what are they saying? And now it's like so normal that they speak that way. It's just like how it is. That's how.
Absolutely. And if the Sims will start speaking in English, that will be so weird. It's just like
so weird.
And
the amount of songs that were rewritten in Simlish.
There's video clips. Maybe we can share some in this because
you have to.
We can put one of the songs right now. Something. In my case, I mean, in the Final Fantasy case, the Bhed, I mean, it was made to make them look different, it was made for that. But I mean, maybe not quite as the Simlish, but other that I can think of is the Dobasul in Skyrim. I mean, they invented an entire language that originally was a dragon language, and the cool thing that the creators invented was there were runes, written in stone, but it's claws from the dragons.
It's insane. Literally, that is insane.
And you, as the main character, can actually do screams and shouts from that dragon power. Not everyone can read that, So I mean, it's not translatable, okay, but it has a meaning.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it has a specific purpose, because I'm thinking, as you said, to differentiate races or some stuff like that. I played 10 years of my life of World of Warcraft, and even though your game is fully localized in the language that you are playing in, if you are from the Horde like me, you're going to speak Orcish, and if you are from the Alliance, you're going to speak Common. It doesn't matter the language that you're speaking. I might be speaking in Spanish with my teammates or in English with my teammates. The other side of the ball is not going to understand you at all. It's going to come out all gibberish.
Wow.
It's you can choose the channel, right?
Yeah, you can choose you can choose the channel. You can choose if you want to talk in Orcish, that is the common language in the Horde, or you can, I don't know, maybe if you play with a blood elf, like I did, you can actually speak the language of the blood elves too, or if you are a troll, you can speak the languages of the trolls. It's just like every race has this thing that makes them unique. It is a gibberish language, but it has like this purpose of making you unique and
like look different from the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in a way, like that's especially if you play it like when you're young, and that makes you think about the role of languages like in the real world, because it's a bit like that as well. Like, you know, and in a way, like for those cases where you can't understand the language, that can also be like one of the purposes of like you want to try to learn it, or like I know some people when they talk about Legends of Zelda, I know that you
Hylian, absolutely.
I know some people that have tried to like also to learn it, but it's like languages in the real world, it has evolved, and in all different.
That's the thing with Zelda. I believe it has changed. It has evolved.
It changed like the roots and everything.
Everything is changing. So it's just like sometimes you can try. Maybe you find some similarities, but it doesn't mean it has like grammatical rules and everything. There is like this blog post about Alan. From Alan, I don't want to slur it. Alan Zucconi, it's so great. He actually talks about world building through fictional languages, and I think it's so amazing what he has to say, because he says there are some fictional languages that can be translated because they have an alphabet or grammatical rules. The entire world of The Lord of the Rings was built around a series of languages that Tolkien himself created before writing the books. It happens the exact same in the world of video games. Noita is such a game, where a significant part of the story is either hidden in plain sight or behind the walls that the player has to destroy. This is amazing, because if you actually had played Noita, you have some sort of story going, you can actually see the story and everything, but everything on the background, it is like the complete story, the complete with all the hieroglyphics and stuff, because it has its grammatical rules. And I've seen people trying to, not myself, because I don't have the time. But if you go into the Reddit pages, you can find all the investigation that they did and everything, and it's so amazing. I mean, how can a fictional language get that far?
It's an additional layer to a game story.
Exactly, and it definitely adds to that immersive experience, and like that's the credibility of the world that you created. That's just the fact that this language, and like I think we've all like covered all these different purposes that fictional languages can have. It can either just be like the emotion through the pitch that they're using, or it can be like a whole like quests where you can try to translate it. And,
and it can be something to set you apart from the rest, to give you more of a mysterious feeling, because sometimes when you play a video game and you open a magic book, what you find in the magic book, it's not probably something that you will understand, because this is like a fake language. So it's just like to give this feeling of something mysterious, something like you don't belong here, right?
You know what I went silent because I couldn't stop thinking about something. The Orcish and the Common language.
Yeah, from the Horde and the Alliance.
Yeah, but Common sounds not as cool as Orcish.
I know, but I'm from the Horde. You have to choose your sides. Just like,
but
you want to be part of the cool kids.
You said it, not me, but you knew what I was going.
He's going to kill.
But I mean, if you think about it, in the world of Warcraft, right? It's a war, so that happens also. I mean, in real life. I mean, I imagine wars you face against individuals from another country or whatever, and you don't understand them either. So it's like that. How many years ago? 15, 12, 10 years ago. That must have been groundbreaking to do something massive. Because it's an online game.
And there are like some Orcish words that I know they have meaning, like Loktar Ogar, that it's just, they have certain meaning because they have given this kind of meaning. So it's just like, I think that's powerful.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think, especially for I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day, where like for native English speakers, that they are so used to
speaking English.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is like, I'm from Latin America. We know like a lot of games aren't localized from like to Spanish or to Latin American Spanish, especially to like Argentinian Spanish in our case, for example. So it's very different feeling, and I think it's very interesting to create that like more international view of your game, where you have just different species and different like groups of people speaking different languages, and how it feels like.
It gives you a notion of a broader view.
Yeah, it's just like another thing that you are experiencing, because I believe if there are like games that weren't like with these fictional languages, it wouldn't feel the exact same,
No, if they all spoke English with different accents, it would have.
Yeah, and then when I don't know, I imagine every single game that you wake up in a strange world, you don't understand the language, so it's just like this kind of feeling of exploration, of discovering new things, and I think it's what gets me the most about fictional languages, right?
Maybe that what you just said, I mean, the fact that most that English speakers are used to having games in English, and that also happens in other countries. I mean, I remember Yuhei from season 1, one of our guests, talked about how most actually Japanese players just think that their game magically appears in Japanese, and that's just not the case in most games, because I mean there are many Japanese games developers and publishers, right? But I mean, it gives a broader point of view in general, that there are different people that speak different languages, and even if it's a native.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all of you who are watching or hearing this, we would love to hear what's your favorite fictional language. Do
you speak any fictional languages?
Are you fluent in every fictional language?
I would be very impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave your comments down below, find our Discord link there.
Thank you so much for watching.
See you guys in the next episode.